Good morning, Elite Team. This is Venderman with FuturestraderElite with your NQ pre-market prep on 1/7. Let's jump right into this chart. We got the 1 hour chart pulled up. Real quick, let's talk about yesterday a little bit. We got our drive up that we had discussed. We ended up tagging the 1 hour trend line. We kind of swept it a little bit. As you can see, overnight we've had this steady down move here until we got to the golden pivot at 732, and we bounced off that, got sucked up off the golden pivot here, tested again, and then it opened up, and we've been in an upward move off of that ever since. Where we wick through, kind of swept that trend line yesterday, we're going to have to adjust that trend line there. So let's move that up a little bit to where it's on the top of that wick. And then yesterday you can see these precision entry zones were here from yesterday. Also how it had swept that line up there and come back down to this precision entry zone. And of course the golden pivot is there as well for that bounce. But we're going to get rid of this. We don't need this anymore. And we're going to get rid of this one. We don't need that. And we'll get rid of this one. And then we look up here where we had a couple of these real quick. We're going to need to extend these. This one here is 855 to 865 is what it should be. And then we will extend these, say 925 to 935. This one's 980 to 990. We'll move that over. Okay, so let's try to think on what we might have today, let's say to the upside, since right now we are above the golden pivot. And this, we got to look at this here. Now I know that we broke this yesterday, but we tagged that trend line, which we talked about. You know, the key is to break this up here in order to get our bullish bias as far as the direction of structure. Let's make this smaller. You see, we're right here on this one right now, and then we still got this here again. We got this over here. So we'd have to get through all that. We got to break through this precision entry zone, and then this R1 pivot is almost in line, close enough with this right here. And this would be a turning point in the structure, major time frame structure, or at least a 1 hour. If we can break that there, we still got all this resistance we've never been able to push through that we've been talking about for a month. Break through all that, and then we would have to break through all these previous all-time highs of these yellow lines, this R2, and then I guess we ought to extend this box up here. That's been on there for at least a month, I think. This box here is 90. No, hold on. It's 93 to 123. We're going to extend that over. I think maybe that box got adjusted somehow. That should be 90, I believe. Try and get as close as you can. Should be 90 to 120 maybe. You always want to try to get them as close as you can. Alright, so looking at this on the 1 hour, you see we got our crossover here, these trend lines. The question is, let's go over a situation where we get pulled to the downside first, and what we might be looking at. So if we get pulled to the downside, this first precision entry zone down here is 645 to 655. I would be looking for a bounce there. This is the 50 EMA, this pink line, and you know, it could sweep past. That's around 694 right now. It could easily sweep that, tag this precision entry zone for a bounce to go higher, or you know, if we even got the bounce, come back, test the 50 EMA, and then come down, you might tag the S1. Now the bottom of that box, the S1 is about 20 points lower than this precision entry zone. Depending on the downward pressure, you could see it sweep this precision entry zone and tag that. So it just depends on, you got to be able to make your own judgment call, your own risk management when it comes to how the market's moving, on whether you play a first reaction entry to this precision entry zone, or if you think it might sweep that and go on down, tag the S1. And then we got this precision entry zone that's below it, 605 to 595. This whole area right here could be kind of tricky because of how this is laid out. You could get a first reaction to the first one and a bounce, then you might test the S1 pivot and get a bounce, a better bounce, and go even higher, or it could just bounce off the S1, then sweep down and get this precision entry zone. Or if they pull it down hard, they could just pierce all that. And if they did, if we got a move like that, I would expect to get a hard bounce down here where this yellow line is, a previous all-time high. It's at 545, but this precision entry zone is 535 to 540, and then that 545 line there. So you could do the 10 points, 535 to 545. If it had a hard push down, something like this big candle over here, you know, if we got something like that, I would be expecting to be saved right there in that area for a pretty hard bounce. But it had to get there hard, not just trickle down there real, you know, here's a candle, there's a candle, there's a candle. And then the slower it gets there, the better chances are if it gets down here, it's just going to pierce that as well if we're getting a lot of downward pressure in the market. So that's what I'd be looking at on the downside. Now, if we try to discuss what we might think could happen if they come in, I know this week, I'm sure there's some news coming out. I think it's non-farm payroll, maybe. I don't even check. I guess I need to. But let's say we keep moving to the upside. We need to break this trend line if we're going to get real bullish. And so right now that'd be around 832 is what we would need to break as of this video. As we get over here, it'll lower down some, but we need to break that and get above this precision entry zone. This one here is 855 to 865. You know, we need to break that, maybe push to that R1 pivot. I like where that R1 is. It is sitting right on top of this precision entry zone. 925 to 935. That pivot is at 936. So I would definitely be thinking first reaction short in that area, depending on how it got there. Then say they did get there, they chop it around a little bit, try to drive it on up. This precision entry zone right here is 980 to 990. I would be thinking to myself, you know, if they consolidate here, I'd be looking for a short in this area. Might just be a temporary short. You know, you got to take what they give you. You might not get what you want, but you got to take what they'll give you. So if you did get a first reaction short and it's just 5 or 10 points, that's fine as well. So if they want to stair step this up, though, that's the thing, is being able to maybe pinpoint some areas, because if they did want to stay bullish and stair step this, I would expect some pullbacks. Tag that Pez box, maybe pull back, tag that Pez box, pull back, tag that one. You might get a little sweep of them or something. And unless news drops, I mean, one candle could pierce through all that. And say like we was talking about that hard candle to the downside down here, if we got it, kind of like this big red one, say we get a big green candle, I would say that if we got a big green candle, I would probably be willing to risk pretty heavy in this box right here, that 90 to 120, because that's that area that we've not been able to do nothing with. Look at all these tops we have up here, and there's a lot of it back here, over here, inside all this down move. And then the key is this right here, all these that we had in that area. So you would have to imagine if news dropped and you got a sudden move, considering where we are right now, we're at 772, and let's say they got up here into that box, would be not quite 400 points, but I mean, you know what I mean. That's a big move for if they put in one huge candle, even if it's two, one to the, let's say the R1 or a little higher, open back up in the next candle on a 1 minute chart and flew up there, I'd be shorting, and I'd probably be pretty heavy, I would imagine. Typically that's a move that I would love to test. Now, even if you want to try it, it might be one of them things where if you're doing micros, you just short one up there. Don't go in heavy, because those are the type of moves that you could take one or two micros, and if we got that kind of move and you had them sitting up here to go short, that you turn around and get a 100-point drop, with one or two micros, and that's pretty good snag. With micros, just a couple, you make quite a bit of money off just a couple. But that's the kind of move you could expect. Now, I'm not saying it would do that, because it could absolutely open up and shoot up to that box and consolidate and keep going higher. There's no doubt about that. We just have to wait and see how the market's reacting to the news. So I think that's going to be all we're going to talk about as far as levels and buys this morning on pre-market prep. All these levels down here are the same from yesterday. I just extended them because I never got touched, but they'll still be in play if we ever get back down there. Or not ever. I guess they'll be in play when we do get back down there, whenever that is. So right now, our range as of the video is kind of around 833 and 723. So about 110 points is what we're looking at here, is the main range that I'm going to pay attention to, because it's in between these trend lines. Something needs to happen within this 110 points to kind of give us an idea of which way, we're going to break up and go, or we're going to break down under this line and go down. Everybody stay sharp, stay green. I'll see you guys in Discord and in the trade recaps. I hope you guys have a great trading day.